Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Insight to Impact, tailored specifically for agencies. And we see a lot of people checking in as well. Some people from Lebanon, India, England, Qatar, Brazil, London, Germany. Amazing. We want to know where all of you guys are coming from. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. And the main idea of the session is to talk about something that's become a real differentiator for agencies, which is reporting. So we want to help you prove client value through smarter, more strategic analytics. So since everyone's saying hello in the chat, I think it's important for us to say hello too. I am Paolo. I am a solutions consultant here at Emplifi, and I come from an agency background myself. So before joining Emplifi, a couple of years ago, not going to say how many, I was the little nerd on the in the agency, working with all the data and all the platforms, and I'm very happy to share some of that experience with you today. And this is my colleague Sky.
Thank you, Paulo. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. It's a pleasure to have you all. My name is Scarlett Castro, and you can call me Sky as well. And I'm based in Mexico. Before joining Amplify, I was actually on the brand side in my case. And during that time, I had the chance to work very closely with different agencies. So I know firsthand the kind of challenges that you face and as well the value that you bring to the table. So now from Amplify and Amplify, I support our clients through live training sessions, webinars, and tailored content, always aiming to make onboarding practical, engaging, and relevant in your day-to work. So thank you again so much for joining Chile, Tunisia, Chile as well. So welcome everyone.
Amazing. Now, let's talk a little bit about what is the agenda for the day. So, first, we're going to have a reality check on reporting in agencies. So, we want to talk about client expectations, biggest pain points, and how to make that work smarter and more efficient. Then, we're going to dive into reporting. So, how can we tell better stories with data? We're going to be talking about something that Sky and I love, labeling. So you're going to hear a lot about labels today. Cool. Plus, we're going to leverage Amplify capabilities to speed up that process. And we're going to have a live demo. So you're going to see our product in action with guided navigation so that you can replicate that experience on your end too. Then we're going to move to a success case, someone who's done it before and what they have accomplished. And to wrap up, we close the session with key takeaways. One important thing before we move on, you are going to see here in Goldcast on the top right side a section called Q&A. Over there, you'll be able to drop your questions because at the end of the session, we want to have some time for a live Q&A. So if anything comes to mind, anything you're curious about, or anything that was not very clear during our presentation, you can ask the question in the Q&A section, and we're going to look at those as we finish, if time permits. Hopefully so. All right. I am going to pass on to the amazing Sky to start the agenda.
Wonderful. Thank you, my dear Paolo. So let's start with the reality check. And let's talk about one of the biggest challenges agencies face today. And we know that is proving your value to clients. We know that agencies are expected to go beyond just campaign execution and bring innovation, strategic insights, and clear value to their brand. But when reporting falls short, it becomes difficult to show the real impact of your work. So, according to a recent survey polling marketing managers working with digital marketing agencies, as we can see, 75% of marketers have reconsidered their agency relationships due to poor reporting. So the message is clear. Clients don't just want the data, they want transparency, context, and guidance in their social media strategy. And in fact, 90% say agencies need to make reporting more transparent and accessible, not just cleaner dashboard or pretty charts, but clearer takeaways, smarter forecasting, and honest conversations about what's working and what's not working. And that's what this session is all about. In this webinar, we are going to show you how Amplify helps you and turn these challenges into opportunities. And with deeper tools that make it easier to deliver data-backed, actionable insights that prove your value and deepen client trust, of course. In light of this, let's move on. And now, how do we turn those reporting challenges into opportunities? So this answer lies in smarter reporting, which ultimately leads to stronger client retention. So let's dive into how we can achieve that, shall we? Awesome. So this is very, very important for us. So now let's start by addressing a common challenge for agencies that is making sense of overwhelming amounts of social content and metrics. So before using Amplify, many teams are dealing with this, with row posts, with scattered metrics across channels, and no clear way to identify what's working. And at the end of the day, it's just noise. So let me introduce you a very important level of Amplify that we love. And again, as Paulo was mentioning, we will talk a lot about this element, which is content labeling. This is what will bring structure to the chaos of social data. So labels help us segment both, first, organic and paid, which is amazing, and in a way that aligns with our reporting goals. So once you've labeled your content, you can unlock clarity and granular analysis. So whether it's campaign for performance, regional breakdowns, or format-specific insights, labels let you slice the data your way. And labeling also powers dynamic dashboards and tailored client reports, so you're not limited to generic metrics. You can build reporting frameworks around what each client truly cares about. And that's another topic that we'll also cover, that is custom metrics. So again, you can tailor this to each client's needs. So one of the biggest wins as well is time saving. We know that this is also something that you struggle with. So time saving and labels can be applied automatically. So you don't have to worry to do it manually. And once your framework is set, you can reuse templates and workflows across different campaigns. So again, that's another win. And finally, labeling reveals what's actually working. It helps you identify patterns in content type, messaging, or topics, so you can double down on what drives results and drop what doesn't. So instead of drowning in this chaotic data, we are surfacing meaningful insights, and that changes everything. Let's move on to from why it matters to how it works. So as you can see in this pad, labeling is just the beginning. Here's how agencies use it to drive results. So first, you've defined your structure with labels. Remember that these are the tags that we are going to apply to our social posts, to our social content, tied to a specific campaign, formats, creators, regions, and more. With those labels in place, we can then move on to the next step, that will be surface insights. Identifying trends and performance across multiple dimensions. Now that you have that, it's time to take strategic actions. So these insights help inform creative choices like, hey, we've noticed that maybe these videos are performing better than the other ones in different platforms. Or maybe we have realized that whenever we use kitties and dogs, we get amazing results. No? Or not only about creative choices, but also budget allocations and platform strategies. And finally, the last step would be proof impact. So Once we already have our labels applied, once we already have identified our insights and we have already applied those insights or turned those insights into action, then we can show our clients exactly how content performs and tying that performance back to strategic decisions. So suggesting more impactful ideas as they are data oriented. So we know that clients love that. And Emplifi helps agencies turn analytics into action using that structure to unlock insights, inform content, and showcase performance. Now that we have this pad, we also have more use cases for content labeling. And let's talk about the real value of content labeling for agencies that we know that is campaign tracking. But it's not only campaign tracking, we also have another use cases for labeling that we are going to explain one by one. But first, campaign tracking. So agencies, we know, live and breathe campaigns. And clients expect visibility into what's working and again, what's not. And why? That's like the big question. Why? So just curious, and I will make a pause here. How are you currently tracking campaign performance across different channels? So is it spreadsheets or manual tagging? Please feel free to answer the poll in the right-hand side of your screen. And at the end, we will show you the responses shortly. Now, with Emplifi, you can label your content across different channels, formats, and placement. So even if you're running multiple platform campaign with various creatives, you can still track everything under one campaign umbrella. So this cross-channel view is crucial for agencies because it's not just about managing volume, it's about proving value. So you can answer questions like, okay, which campaign drove the most engagement last month? Or what creative strategy worked best for these and these products? Or maybe, are we hitting the right tone across markets or the regions or the platforms and so on? So, but campaign tracking, as I was mentioning, is not just the only one example. Content labeling unlocks other key areas of value, such as, for instance, creative attribution. That will lead us to understand which creators, styles, or production methods are driving the best performance. So this helps you optimize briefs. We have more details about the briefs, allocate budget better, or even justify creative decision to your clients. And now, again, based on our data oriented. And product level performance mapping. If you're promoting multiple product lines, for instance, or yes, you have different SKUs, labels help you know exactly which ones are resonating the most. Agencies supporting retail or CPG brands especially benefit from this. The other one would be trend and event tagging. So you can stay relevant by tracking how your content performs around key dates or holidays or cultural moments. So this is great for seasonal campaigns or real-time marketing. Another one would be layered labeling framework. And this is where you get even more strategic because you can combine different labels in just one single report, like campaign, product, creative labels, and find these intersections that reveal even deeper insights. So like best performing product format combination during a launch campaign. So as you can see, content labeling gives agencies the clarity they need to track, optimize, and improve performance. So all while making this reporting more strategic, less manual, real time, and that is valuable for your clients. So now let's take a look at the poll results. Shall we? Amazing. So remember, how are you currently tracking campaign performance across different channels? We had manual tagging, spreadsheets, unified dashboard, or reporting tools. We don't have a consistent method yet. If you don't have a consistent method yet, remember that we will show you, and maybe because of this session, you already have some ideas of how you can apply the labels or the structure for your different clients. Manual tagging, don't worry about manual tagging anymore. Remember that you can automate your labels based on different rules, and you don't have to worry about that. And in case, by the way, in case that you don't have automation or automation labeling, feel free to reach out to your partner success team, so you can get more information about it. And amazing, unified dashboard and reporting tools. That's great. That's the main idea of this. Awesome. Thank you so much for participating on our poll. Let me go back if we can share. Amazing. Thank you so much. Perfect. And now let's take a quick pause just to highlight what our agencies, Constructive, Leo Burnett, and Sina are sharing with us. As you can see, this is a great summary of what we aim to deliver: better insights, more efficient teams, and stronger outcomes for clients. So we'll share more examples shortly, but keep this in mind as we go. Data is only powerful when it's actionable. And that's exactly what we're helping agencies unlock. And this is why we are here as well. Great. And this is another example because labels don't just help you organize. They help you surface the insights, as we were mentioning that it was the second step. This surface insight step will help you at both sides, micro and macro level. For example, one of our clients uses the engagement rate metric or widget in their dashboard to analyze label content over time, as you can see this graphic, and this helps them identify when certain campaigns or products specifically are resonating most and adapt a strategy in real time. As you can see, we have some peaks or depending on the content that we are publishing, according to any of these different content labels like lip, eyeshadow, or brow. So you can, again, adapt a strategy in real time because you already know what's working and what's probably not working so much. And that's the real power here. So you're not just looking back, you're using performance patterns to guide your next move. So that's the relevant part here. And we have already talked about surfacing insights from your own content. But what about what's being said about you and your clients out there in the wild? That's where social listening comes in. So with Emplifi, by the way, you can use labels to bring structure to your listening data as well, just like you would with your own content. So you can clearly tag and group mentions from listening queries. You can also track trends in real time and understand what people are actually saying about your client's brand or your products, or even from your competitors. That's another good one. And use automatic labeling to surface emerging topics, or issues about without having to dig manually. Again, you don't have to worry about assigning the labels manually to your content or your listening mentions. You don't have to worry about that because that applies to listening as well. And this gives agencies a huge advantage, not just in reporting, but in a proactive strategy. Again, so you're no longer reacting, you're anticipating. And that's make a big difference for clients. And now we have discussed the why and the how behind optimizing your reporting for stronger client relationships. So now let's see this concept in action. And I'll now hand it over to my dear Paulo to show you a live demonstration of how Emplifi can help you achieve those goals. So Paulo, the floor is yours.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sky, and thank you for sharing those insights. I think whenever we talk about labeling, more than the technicality of it, as you mentioned, being able to frame your business goals and tie the labels to what you want to achieve, I think is key. I am going to start sharing my screen and talk through some parts of our platform that can help agencies to achieve those results. I figured I'd start with paid. There were some questions. Morgan, I see you, I hear you, about paid and organic reporting. This is one example of what you can build in dashboard. Having all of your paid metrics on one side and organic metrics on the other side. I am personally working on a project to make this more user friendly. So stay tuned, more to come. But what I wanted to tell you, starting off with paid, is that here on dashboard, you can create your narrative to consolidate your data, however it makes sense to you. So whatever data source that is available within Amplify can be used as a widget, as a chart here in dashboard. So if I wanted to add something else, I can come to add widget. I can search for a specific metric. Maybe I want to go into ads metrics and I want to talk about clicks, for example. And one thing that I wanted to stress and emphasize today is that one single widget can have so many different views. So I'm just selecting all of my ad sources here. And now I have an evolution of my clicks, but I can make it better by adding a breakdown, for example, for ad types. So now I can see what was boosted, what was a dynamic ad, a variations catalog, anyhow, everything that you want to add to your to tell a better story, right? And then you'll be able to see here. It will come right to your dashboard, and you can keep on building that narrative that you want to tell. When we talk about data exploration, then I would head over to Unified Analytics. And in here, we have an example of a paid report combining all of your ad accounts. It's something that's harder to do if you want to combine Meta, TikTok data, and LinkedIn data, for example, in a single report. This is something that you can do with Amplify. And if you want to explore the data, for example, I want to see a specific trend in clicks. I can click on this specific this specific chart and see the associated content. So now I'm looking at multi-platform for those pieces of content for all of my ads, right? I can see the ads here. I can see all the information about those ads. I can even sort by different metrics. So for example, if I want to see which ad generated more clicks, I'll be able to do so. And I wanted to start it off with paid analytics and actually ask for you in the chat if you are a current customer of Amplify, if you are using Amplify's capabilities for ads, right? I'd like to hear from you. Good. So this is what I wanted to show you when it comes to paid. Now let's talk about the emphasis on labeling and the other reports that we can have with Amplify. If you have worked with Amplify before, you might be familiar with our unified analytics. This is where we can have, oh, and I actually have, this is not the theme of the webinar today, but I just received a spike alert from my listening for Maybelline. I'll look at it later. So good. In here in Unified Analytics, you have so many options to go through different ready-made reports for all social networks, for paid, for campaigns, for listening. If you need some help getting to the metric that you want to find, you also have the help of our AI assistant. So if I wanted, for example, to create a report on my stories, I can just start typing here and I see that there's a board with story engagement. Maybe that's what I need. I'll click here. I'll select my data source. And as quickly as that, I have a complete report of my stories. So that's how much time it takes to generate a report here in Unified Analytics. And once you know what you're looking for, you can save those views for everything that's important to you. So this environment that we hear is for a an imaginary brand called Totique that we use for our demonstrations. And Totique is a brand in the beauty industry. So everything that you're going to see here today is related to that industry. And some things that I think are important for my day-to-day analysis work would be those saved views that I have here. So we cannot talk about our own strategy if we don't compare to our competitors. So I have created a beauty benchmark. This is under multi-comparison, under public profiles on Instagram. So I have created this view and I saved it, right? So I can have quick access to it. And in here, you're gonna have a competitive benchmark for the major metrics on Instagram. So you can see number of followers, the importance of MAC cosmetics in this competitive view. But when we talk about followers growth, we see the L'Oreal is getting a lot of followers, and MAC Cosmetics is actually losing followers. This is in the last 30 days. And what's great about this view is that if I want to have a wider view, let's say I want to see everything that happened this year, I can quickly change and understand better the trends, right? We talk about content. What kind of content have they been publishing and how many? So we see that MAC Cosmetics is the one publishing, the biggest amount of content this year, right? I have a breakdown of content by media type. This is one that I find specifically interesting. We see the balance of MAC Cosmetics between photos, carousels, reels, and when it comes to Fenty Beauty, we see that it's a very video focused strategy, right? So reels dominate alongside with carousels for Fenty Beauty. And then that ties to this other view that we have here, which is the average interactions per content piece. That we see that Fenty Beauty actually has the biggest. Can this be related to the videos, to the reels that they're publishing? If you want to know more and have a more qualitative analysis, you can come here and click on the chart and you'll be able to see that specific content, right? So you're going to be redirected to our content hub in which we are able to see the content in detail. And we see all this beautiful content that's been put out by Fenty Beauty. And then very quickly come back. Great, so we covered here competitive benchmark. There's a lot that we can explore about those brands. Let me go back to my homepage and then move on to my following saved view, which is about listening. So Sky was mentioning that before as well, right? Let me click through and see what has been said about Fenty Beauty lately. So we have a lot of mentions, over 20,000 mentions in the last 30 days. We see how this fluctuates through time, the evolution of that, the breakdown by platform. It's as one would expect. The conversations about Fenty are heavily influenced by Instagram. So we have a lot of conversations here. Again, we can click through and see this in detail. We can have some contextual understanding of this topic. So you can see here, Fenty Beauty is associated to translucent, blush. We have gorgeous associated to Rihanna, which is obviously the top influencer for her own brand. We have the keywords. What are those positive keywords, negative keywords, emojis, the themes? We're talking about toiletry, beauty, cosmetics, human appearance, the hashtag. So it's a very rich report that you can have for listening. And mind you, this is one of the many reports that we would have for listening. So we have a bunch that you can explore, right? I want to go back to my home. And since we talked a lot about labels, I want to emphasize that one too. One thing when we're talking about makeup is that we have makeup for our eyes, we have products for our skin, we have mascara. So one thing that we did with the auto labeling is to recognize content about lips. So anything mentioning lips, lip gloss, lipstick is going to be auto labeled. right? So when I go to this view here, this is a cross-platform overview from our campaigns and labels report, right? And I selected lips as the content label to filter out those results. I can see how many content pieces are about lips, number of interactions. And again, this is considering all of our competitive scenario. So we see how it trends over time. We see the impressions, how they change, the predominant sentiment, and then the top content by interactions. So again, Fenty Beauty dominates the top content about lips. And we are going to see the first competitor here, Maybelline. So there's a benchmark. If anyone is in the beauty industry and needs some inspiration about lips, this is where you should go to. Great. There's a lot that we said about Instagram and labeling. Give me a second. Oops. Let me go back. Hang on. Something is not working quite well.
Take your time.
Sky, I think I am going to need your help.
Yes.
Because
how can I help?
My computer stopped working. Can you still see me, hear me? Okay.
Don't worry. Do you want me to share my screen in Totic Suite?
Yes, please.
Absolutely. Just
Yes,
give
please.
me 1 second. No worry. These things happen. So
they only happen live though.
They only happen live. I agree. We are just about to continue. Let me just very quickly. Okay. Awesome. Oh, Bella is no more with me, right? Okay, don't worry about it. Again, technical issues. We can. Can you hear me well? To me? Yes. Oh, good. Over. Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Give me just 1 minute to see if Paulo can fix his technical problem. Thank you so much, Jen. Give me 1 second. Because what we can do is to continue with the deck, and maybe when Paulo is back, we can go back to the demo. Yeah, we can continue with the deck. Amazing. Thank you. Super. This is basically what Paulo was showing case in the platform. So first, the competitive benchmark. So when you use the content and profile labels to track and compare your performance against competitor, this is something that is possible and achievable in Emplifi. And by the way, the content labels, as you were seeing in the lips, or the lips content label that Paulo was showing, we were including not only Fenty Beauty brand, but also all the competitors as well. So you can see when you're trying to organize your content based on a specific metric, this is something that it's very helpful to identify what's working and what's not working, what's something that we need to work on, something that we need to learn from. Also, we were talking about unified analytics a lot because here you can, again, you can save the views that are more relevant to you, not only from social profiles perspective, but also social listening or content labeling or campaigns and so on. And you can also identify what are the main words that are relevant to you for your clients or maybe the platforms that you need. And again, you can also save that view and find them in home in unified analytics. It's easier to access to all the save views that you have created before. So please leverage unified analytics a lot because here you can play around with different immediate boards, and also you can export at any time or schedule the report and set the frequency that the person outside Amplify will receive that report. So that's another great advantage in Amplify. And Paulo, hey, welcome.
I am back. I am so sorry. My browser
Yeah,
just broke and I had to restart my computer. So thank you for being patient and thank you for saving me, Sky.
you're good.
I'm happy to take over now.
Super. Do you want to share your screen again and finalize with the demo?
No, I think we should keep going with the
Amazing.
slides. Yes.
Amazing.
Good.
Go.
Okay, so I understand you talked through unified analytics. That's great. Let's move on to the next bit that we have discussed. So Content Hub, this is a place that you're going to take more advantage of the detail of your analysis. So your analysis on post level, that's where you can filter by specific labels, specific keywords, get insights post by post, right? So make use of that. Think of the search bar in Content Hub as a proper search bar that you have on the web and find the content that you need. I also wanted to talk about dashboards. That's the one that we mentioned at the beginning. And I am very persistent. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try to open my to open the platform here because there's something interesting that I wanted to show to you about dashboards. So give me a tiny second and I'll share my screen with you. Go to the right account and boom. So I'm gonna stop sharing and then share my screen. Oh, amazing. Right where we left off. There's one thing about dashboards, because here in Unified Analytics, with all those saved views, even though you can filter or select specific campaigns to have a specific view, in Unified Analytics, it's not possible to create your own narrative. So I wanted to go back to dashboards to show, for example, this is one I have created, analyzing paid versus organic. So you have all your the information that you need here, all the breakdowns. You can keep adding to it. And one thing that you could do that's specifically important for agencies is that sometime when you onboard a new client, they are used to a specific metric, right? Oh, I used to see to compare this metric with that metric, we would do this calculation and whatever. There is something that you can do here in dashboard, which are our custom metrics, right? So this is something that you can do too with Emplifi. I have one example here, which is average impressions per post. This is a very simple, straightforward one. We're just averaging out impressions from profiles, but you can be creative in here too. Some use cases that I have seen before about creating custom metrics is weighting metrics. For example, I want shares to have weighting 3, comments to have weighting 2, and likes to have weighting 1. And then create a specific metric that makes sense for my business goals, which is, for example, viewability or shareability. So for anything that you want to do that's more specific, that's unique, that's tailored to your brand, tailored to your client, we'll be able to help you with that too. Amazing. let's go back to our slides and then keep going. So yeah, we talked about dashboards and we talked about our custom metrics. So let's move on and then talk about success case of one of our clients. I saw that we have some people from Chile. Not sure if they're involved in that project, but we're going to be talking about the case of Tail in Chile with Samsung, right? Cheo Chile is a creative marketing agency, and they're part of the global Cheo network. They are affiliated to the Samsung Group and span across all Latin America, while specializing in customer engagement and brand experience for Samsung and for other leading brands in the region too, right? The challenge that they have is optimizing their reporting structure. So, for those of you who are working, for example, with global brands, or for a brand that's multi-product, so you have many teams working in many different ways, but you need that single source of truth. You need a single measure to be able to assess performance cross border or cross product, right? So that's what Jail has done with us. They have adopted the best practices that we are discussing here in this webinar, using automation whenever possible, and the results were really impressive. They have shared with us an 80% reduction in reporting time, which is great. That was the main goal. But I think this case shows us what you can do when you free up your time in creating reports, right? So they have a collateral impact of 5% in brand growth in their audience. So more people were paying attention to what Samsung had to say in this region, and the added benefit of faster response times by 30%, right? So one thing that we want to do, we want to share with you is that having that agility and efficiency in creating reports is not just about being faster. It's about getting better results, right? You have the time to actually analyze what those reports are telling you instead of building, having all the building blocks and exporting data and grabbing screenshots. I know everyone in this room is guilty of doing that at some point in their careers. And, we want to speed up time, not just to have your time freed up, but to actually go to the next level, right? To question that data, to investigate, to explore. And just like Cheo here in Chile, achieve amazing results. Good. Sky, I want to pass it on to you.
Wonderful. And I love how you said that. I'm guilty. I was guilty too about that. But I love how you said that we need to question our data and go beyond that. And I think that that's why we are insisting on use and leverage the tools that you already have with Emplifi, and leverage the labels, the dashboards, and so on. And this is one of our final slides. We have a couple of more, but this is just a friendly reminder that at Emplifi, we know that agencies have unique needs, which is why we are proud about backing our clients with real expert support every step of the way. And as an agency partner, you can get directly access to our dedicated partner success team. This is people and our team who understand how agencies operate and are here to help you scale your success. Actually, a few of them are in the chat interacting with you as we speak, and while also proving exclusive enablement and ongoing training content built just for agencies as well. And also, we are excited to introduce our new Emplifi Certified Partner program. So this is a new initiative designed to help agencies stand out by validating your expertise in our platform. It's great. It's a great way to build internal skills, boost credibility with clients, and unlock new opportunities as a partner. Plus, we are always updating our training with the latest best practices and product updates so your team can start sharp. So stay tuned, and we will also share with you how you can get the certification. We will share with you this email after the webinar with more information about it. And finally, well, before we jump into the questions, let's leave you with a few key takeaways to bring back to your team. So first, remember, implement a strategic content labeling framework. This helps you better organize and categorize your social data so you can go beyond surface level metrics and deliver more meaningful insights in your reports. This is a simple but powerful shift that makes performance stealing much stronger. The second would be leverage unified analytics, as we were mentioning, to truly demonstrate value with Amplify. You can bring all your data into one place and show clients not just what happened, but why it mattered. So it's more effective way to prove impact and connect your work directly to business results. And finally, use data to drive retention, not just reporting. Custom client facing dashboards give your clients ongoing visibility into what's working. And when clients see their wins clearly and consistently, it reinforces your value and builds long term trust. And that's what drives stronger, longer agency relationships. I think that this is one of our big goals here. And Paulo, if you want to take over this last part.
Yes, we have a couple of interesting questions, which
Yes.
I am going to go one by one. So let's go. Carlos, you have asked if we're going to have access to the recorded session, and yes, you're going to receive an email to see the on-demand version. You have also asked how many labels can have one single content. Is it unlimited? And the answer is yes. So, for example, imagine that the content that we were talking about in Fancy Beauty, you can have a label Rihanna because we're showcasing her. We can have a label lipstick because that's our product. And we can have a label makeup because that's our line of products, right? So those three labels to a single content, because whenever you doing a report, you can select and slice and dice the data the way that you prefer. Cool. There's a question about AI automatically label content as it's published and collected, and that's a great call. We have something like that in the works at the moment. We're testing it out first with community messages, and the next step would be to potentially apply to content too. But now, what you want to do to speed up the process would be relying on the auto labels. Those would be keyword based, and yeah, it's very easy to set up. Cool. Maria has asked, does it only show organic data in the multi-comparison? That's a great question. It only shows organic data. We do not have access to the paid activity of our competitors, right? For your own content, of course, you can see both paid and organic, but for competitors, it's organic only. Carlos has said something else. We have a customer with, we manage all organic and the communication paid for another. Yes, I hear you. So it happens a lot of time that clients would hire one agency for content and another agency for paid activity. So what Carlos is asking, if it's possible to integrate that information, even if the agency doesn't handle it. And the answer is yes, Carlos. You would need your client to connect the ad accounts to your Amplify view, and then you'll be able to create those combined dashboards and reports if you wanted to. Amazing. So many questions. I love this. It's great to see the paid and organic breakdown for organic social content that is boosted. Can we also see paid and organic data combined to see the total performance? And yes, the answer is yes. By using breakdowns and filters, you can combine different pieces of information and have it all combined. Whew. If I'm going too fast, let me know, everyone. And
You're
chill.
fine. You're fine.
Okay, and then uh, how can you access custom metric widgets in dashboards? Great question. So custom metrics for most of our clients is an add-on feature. So I would recommend you to reach out to your partner success manager and see the possibilities to include that in your package too. And Lorena asked, is any way to track the posts that they are in collaboration with other profiles? And yes, if you monitor both profiles, you'll be able to see the performance of both contents. And if you're working with a squad of influencers, and I'm sure we're going to hear more about that in future occasions here in our webinars, but you can even ask those creators to share their insights with you, so that you can see private data as well. So yes, all possible. Whew. Done it, Sky.
Loved all the questions. Thank you so much for participating, team, for your time. I don't know if there is anything else that you wanted to share. Any other questions? Because we are just about to wrap up. And again, thank you so much for your time. So we know your time is valuable, and we appreciate your spending time with us. Before we say goodbye, we love to know if you'd like to hear more from us after the webinar, whether it's a deeper dive into the platform, one-on-one strategy session, or just continuing the conversation. So go ahead and please let us know in the chat or in the Q&As more information about this. And again, thank you so much. You can give just a couple seconds more if we received any more comments.
There's one question that I wanted to address. So Fabio has asked, how many public profiles can we add to make benchmarks with public
Great
profiles?
question.
Fabio, the sky is the limit, not this sky.
And not me, per se.
Yes, speak to your partner success manager. There's not a limitation on the number of profiles that you can monitor, and the higher the higher the number of profiles you monitor, the more financial savings you will have. So speak to them, and yeah, you would manage and be able to see all the data that you need. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I know that I can speak for myself and Sky. You have been very participative. I loved all the questions, and we hope that the content was valuable to all of you. Right, Sky, we had such a great time preparing this webinar, and there's more to come.
There's more to come. Stay tuned. And thank you so much, Parlo, for your time. And again, thank you, team, for joining. See you in the next one.
See you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.